So here are 7 secrets to a healthy dating relationship. So number 1, build your relationship on common ground. So that one's pretty obvious, right? If you love art and that's your passion, you're not gonna go hang out with someone or date someone who hates art. So find the things that you love and that you share time together. And honestly, if you can't be good friends because you don't have anything in common, then you don't really have a lot of foundation for a healthy dating relationship. Okay, here's another one. Avoid making snap judgments. So in a dating relationship, there's a couple ways that can happen. You can make snap judgments for the positive, elevating that person. You can also make snap judgments that depreciate a person's value, right? It's always good to stand back and see the whole picture. Personal sharing time. There's 2 memories of my now husband. When I first met him, I remember watching him run across the field in rubber boots and shorts, no shirt on, and carrying a cat. So that was years ago. That was my first impression of him. He still has cat scars from carrying cats around like that. But fast forward, I didn't really see him for quite a long time. And then I remember we had gone on a biking trip and we had a similar group of friends. One day I was eating snacks, biking for a long time. I remember looking down and he had gone on his knees and his little bald head, he'd shaved it bald, and he was begging for my food. So I was amused, but I thought this kid's a joke, right? So in that moment, I was just like, I honestly never thought I'd ever date him. So it probably disarmed my reaction enough that I allowed him to get close enough that we became friends, because I never thought I would date him. And then fast forward to now, we have 6 kids together and he makes me laugh pretty much every day. And I love being with him. So snap judgments, don't write somebody off, give yourself some time and see, how do you feel around that person, right? Do you feel encouraged and strengthened in your voice? And do you feel valued? Because those are pretty good indicators of somebody you want to be around. Here's another one. Pay attention to values. What is something you really value? And somebody will say hockey, family, video games. Like, figure out what your priorities are, man, right? And then if you value them, find out what the other person values. So if family is really important to you and this person you're dating is like, oh, your family stinks, so don't come on over here. Like, no, we don't want to hang out with your family. And they're constantly undermining the things that you value. Big red flag, right? They're not valuing your heart and your mind. They're undermining your own autonomy in those areas and the values that you already have. So I'd give them some distance. Number 4 is respect each other's individuality. There's a cute cliche, or the saying, you're my better half, right? It's implying that you're not a whole person unless you're with the other person. Now you really want to guard against this in adolescent years, and here's why. Developmentally, you are at a stage in life where you're figuring out who you are as an individual. Because as a child, your parents, your coaches, your teachers are making a lot of decisions for you. And now as an adolescent, you're crossing this bridge into adulthood where you're figuring out, well, what are my values? Why does that matter to me? What are my future goals? You have to process these and kind of dig deep and ask those hard questions to develop your own roots. What are you passionate about? What do you love? What are your long-term goals? Don't compromise that development time by jumping in too tightly into a dating relationship, because if you're like romantically involved with someone or you're getting too enmeshed there, you lose that time to develop your individual interests. Because in a dating relationship, you're wanting closeness with the other person, and often you want to just imitate and like what they like in order to be close to them. Here's the reality. 2 healthy individuals make a healthy whole relationship. If you can say no, I don't actually really like that, I like this, that means that this relationship is actually building your individuality, and 2 individuals will make a healthier relationship. And then you have healthy boundaries, you have healthy identity in who you are as a separate person. So number 5, no smothering allowed. So that kind of plays into that respect individuality as well. And it's easy in a dating relationship, it's new, that feeling brain's on overdrive. So you're like, I love this, they love me, we're all together, let's be together all the time. As a growing human being, you need your own time. You need your own time to know who you are apart from that other person. Because if you're together all the time and you don't have room to breathe, you don't have room to grow. So give each other space. If you are confident separately, it will make you more confident together as well. Number 6, remember that love isn't static. So pretty much the point of this is the grass is greener on the side that's water. Every relationship, we should be standing back and seeing what's working, what's not working. Is this reinforcing my values and my long-term goals? Do I feel like a more confident person or do I feel more anxious? You're constantly evaluating what's going on in the relationship, but we also have a part to invest in. Number 7 is know your bottom line. If you know what a healthy relationship looks like, then it's easier to know what it doesn't look like. And if you are able to say, okay, you know what? This characteristic over here, like hitting, slapping, rape, those kind of things, those things that are undermining your autonomy in your body, or they're constantly making you feel belittled or stupid, or you don't get to make any decisions, like you're not allowed to like a certain color, or you're not allowed to like a certain restaurant. If you're losing autonomy in that, that's my bottom line, right? And sometimes in a relationship, we're all growing, right? As human beings, we need to hear the word no to grow. Like I have friends who, through high school, they dated and then they weren't, and then they dated and then they weren't. That's not necessarily bad. What happened there was that boundaries were laid out. They said, okay, this is my boundary and you're crossing my boundary, so I'm out. There was a no that was used, and then the other person used that to grow. And I think actually a no, saying no, is one of the biggest litmus tests or relationship quality tests that you can throw out there. How does a person respond when you say no? Because if you can't say no, that's unhealthy. And if the other person can't hear no, that's unhealthy. So do they respond in a childish way where it's emotions and manipulations and you hurt my feelings when no is used? Or do they get angry and aggressive and revert down into that survival dinosaur brain with controlling, domineering behavior, right? Red flags. And sometimes people just haven't heard no enough in life to have that chance to grow. So if you care about this person, they're not hearing your no and they're acting in those scary survival brain ways, that's your cue to move on. And hopefully that other person can use the no and say, well, that didn't work out so great. Maybe I have a chance to grow here. Know your bottom line and be able to stick to it. And again, if you don't feel like you have a voice to say no, then that's not healthy. Move on.